What's up, Purple People podcast fans? Welcome to this week's show. This is episode number 415, Baby Got Mack. I am one third of your host here.
Yeah.
I mailed that one in. I was trying so hard to find something for Hercules, trying to find something for Mata Alpha, and it was really late at night, and it did not work.
Yeah.
My brain mailed it in. Plus, Khalil Mack's still pretty relevant, so I didn't want to talk any dirtiness or make any puns about Nick Foles because if you guys didn't watch the game, he got hurt, so I felt kind of bad for him. But anyways, I'm Kyle Smith. I'm joined by Adam Carlson.
Hey.
What's up, dude? And Kyle West is here, too. What's going on, sir?
Hey, not a lot, man. Just getting off work. We are in the golden hour, as you decided, so I think that's a perfect time to podcast about the Vikings, right?
That's right. If I had one of those emojis where I sit here like this, that's how I feel right now.
When we all have golden ideas like Golden Girls and Golden Grams.
Both of those things are excellent. I hate how good you are at that. I'm very jealous. It's all jealousy. What's up, John?
I love The Office.
Thanks for commenting, by the way. We beat the Bears on Monday Night Football. Kirk Cousins got his first primetime win.
Primetime Kirk.
First win in Chicago as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not an easy place to play. The Bears have the number one defense in the NFL right now, especially against the run. And that front that they have is just, oh, God, it's so good. It wasn't a shootout. This wasn't the Rams and the Chiefs from a few years ago, but
it was a matchup, man. Like you said, it was the Chicago and their ability to stop the run going against the Vikings wanting to run the Dalvin Cook show and trying to just grind out a tough win.
And Minnesota never did give up on that run game.
No,
30 rushing attempts from Dalvin Cook. And even though he didn't even break 100 yards, they kept pounding it just because that is what they do. It did put Minnesota in some bad spots. There were quite a few third and longs that Minnesota was left to convert. But it was nice to see them stick to their guns, even when it didn't really seem like it was working too well.
Yeah, and he had the one big run that was negated by a penalty. That kind of hurt his stat.
Oh, he'd have gotten taken down if there wasn't that hold, though. So I can't give him too much credit for that run because he'd have been stuffed at the line. Yeah, but you noticed a big turnaround in the run game, too, when Akeem Hicks went out. He is really a big part of that Bears run stop game.
Yeah, they were jawing early on. You could see him and Dalvin just running their mouth the entire time, back and forth. Akeem Hicks is the truth. He's a very good D lineman, and I'm not going to lie to you guys. This felt like one of those games where the Vikings were trying to give it away. They really were.
Yeah.
Special teams, worst performance of the year.
But the Vikings dominated on defense.
Yeah, they did.
And it's really questionable how that happened because for the beginning of the season and even a couple weeks here and there, that Vikings defense looked really bad. They were giving up a ton of points. They were giving up a ton of yards. And it's not like the Bears are a juggernaut on offense or anything.
No.
But you play the opponent you're given and what they were able to do with what they had, especially with that young secondary, it's pretty impressive.
Got to build some confidence, man. That's a good confidence builder. Like, I don't care what Chicago is or isn't on offense. Like, for that young defense for Minnesota, it's a positive for them to be able to do that.
Well, it's like Mike Zimmer said in that post-game the post-game in the locker room. He said, we beat all three division opponents in a row, and now we can go on and do anything.
Yep.
If this isn't the hottest take of the year, I'm not sure what is. John Young says he's all in. Vikings are going to be 9-7. They're going to be the 7th seed, beat the Pack in the NFC Championship. Mahomes gets COVID and we win the Super Bowl. Cousins is immortalized and immediately replaced by insert rookie quarterback. I mean, that's the dream right there. I don't think anything could be better. They would probably keep Cousins because of the money. Honest question here. So if this scenario that John, I'm bringing it back up and we put it on the screen. If this scenario did happen and Kirk Cousins was the quarterback that won the Vikings their first Super Bowl, depending on his performance, probably, would they immortalize this dude in Minnesota and give him a statue or at least a street?
I don't know.
I don't think they would.
Yeah, I'm going to say no on that one.
I'm going to say no, too.
That would be something, John. And that's the kind of takes that I live for this show, because we don't have many people come on and give something that outrageous. And of course, who are we to say that couldn't happen? I was just telling Kyle before we started, the Titans at this point last year were 4-5, and they went to the AFC Championship game. Anything.
Although if Kirk can put together a Super Bowl MVP performance, he might get some good recognition like Flacco did. You never know.
Fire Breather says Donkey goes to special teams. Good choice. The commentators as well, they wouldn't shut up about the Bears during the game. Actually, if you go to YouTube and look up Pat McAfee, at some point, and I looked at it earlier, I would just have to see what the date when it was uploaded. He was just pooping all over terrible NFL commentators at some point recently. So that's a good point there. I was not a fan of whoever called that game. I don't even know if it's the B or C squad. This might have been the D, E, or F squad for Monday Night Football. It was really bad.
The NFL needs Pat McAfee in the announce booth, and
he's too busy at NXT, man.
I was just going to say, they need him more than Pat needs the NFL at this point. Like, he's busy. He's a busy man.
Well, in that same
McAfee's in charge of his stable over in NXT, and it's picking up some pretty good ground. I mean, he's doing a great job as like a manager. Yeah,
he's such a natural fit for it.
He cuts heel promos so good.
I don't know what the date is, and I'll look it up later. I don't know what the date is for it, but in that interview, he said, "I'm not going back. I don't need the booth. I don't want it." It's like I'm not pooping on the booth. I'm pooping on the people in the booth. He's like, doing the job in the booth is hard. But
I'm not pooping on the people either. I'm pooping on the job they did.
Yeah, it was not fun. Dalvin will get the statue. Yeah, that would sound about right.
Well, it depends. Dalvin has a rough game, fumbles 3 times. You never know. Cousin comes out, 4 touchdowns.
We'll give it to Adam Thielen.
450 yards.
That's an easy sell.
I'd give it to Zimmer just because of getting him there after the way the season started. That'd be rough. I want to bring this up before we forget. We were talking earlier, and Adam mentioned it, how the Bears are not a juggernaut on offense, I believe you said. So this is from Paul Hembedikis on Twitter. Dan Orlovsky replied, points per game, points per drive, yards per game, yards per play, first downs a game, third down percentage, average drive distance, and efficiency. 31 and 32. Guess who intermingled there? The Bears and the Jets.
Ooh.
They are awful this year. Matt Nagy's job, and his butt's got to be warm. I got to say that.
Well, you did see a little bit of difference in the play calling on Monday night because the Bears did have that more up-tempo offense. And in some places it did work. The Bears did have some ugly drops, a couple overthrows. It's not like they didn't have the potential for a couple plays, but the Vikings played such a disciplined defense that they were able to protect the line of scrimmage. They were able to drop some extra players back into coverage, and they let their safeties roam, whether it was the backfield or sideline to sideline. And the way that they've been doing that with that Tampa 2, well, cover 2, not Tampa 2, with that cover 2, it's interesting to see because it's not the old school Tampa 2. Zimmer's having a little bit of fun messing with it with the players he has, but it's really going backwards, like reinventing the wheel with this cover 2 that Zimmer's working with. And apparently Chris Boyd didn't like that Mike Zimmer said that it was like teaching kindergarten again when he was teaching cover 2. But it really is because it's one of the simpler coverages.
Compared to what he's used to running, he probably hates having to run this cover 2 defense. But give Mike Zimmer credit. He is like, if we're going to run cover 2, and we're going to be the best fucking cover 2 defense that we can be out there. So he's making it work.
Well, but I've also got to hand it to Chris Boyd and Jeff Gladney because both of them have had really good weeks as of late, especially Gladney, who has been solid in coverage and excellent against the run. He's looking like he's going to be very good.
Well, to your guys' point, too, Zimmer still gets to dial up those third and second down blitzes because there were a ton of those in this game, and it threw Nick Foles off all over the place. So he's still getting to throw in all the extra hot sauce that he likes to sprinkle in there. And it showed up here in the stats. I mean, God, Hercules Mataafa had himself a game. Eric Wilson's at the top of the tackles again. There were a ton. There were 11 quarterback hits, 5 passes defended. I mean, the defense was on fire this game.
Yeah.
The defense weren't the only ones on fire. You could see several offensive players that were just absolutely motivated. especially after big plays. The offensive linemen were energized. The receivers, when they call in a pass, it was party time.
And don't sleep on that. Don't sleep on that secondary either. They have a very good defense all around in that team, but they found a way to get it done. The Vikings, I don't even want to look it up for the past decade. I think they've only won like 4 times in Soldier Field in the last decade, if that. It's really bad. So
the only touchdown scored by Chicago was a kick return by Cordero Patterson. That was it.
Clap to you. He's 8th. He's on the. What do you have? 8 touchdowns. So that's he's tied. I think 8th all time.
Yep.
For kick returns. The man's. Do we not miss that guy on special teams? I miss that guy.
Oh yeah.
I don't miss the Vikings trying to force things to him on offense.
You could, and you know what? We were talking about that in Discord. You can see Chicago doing the same thing. It's like he made a couple plays out there on special teams, and then they're trying to just shoehorn him in there in wildcat formations and other shit. And it's like he's not that guy. He's just not that guy. You just got to be thankful that he made your one big play, and that's it. That's what you're paying him for.
I'm going to say something a little bold about that thing that you just showed there from chat. It was about Eric Wilson and Eric Kendricks saying that they're the best linebacker duo in the league. I'm going to add you a little bit because this was Eric Kendricks' worst game of the season. There were times he absolutely disappeared, and I think it's because Chicago was engineering their defense or their offense in a little bit to kind of stay away from him because, he is among the league leaders in tackling. He's a surefire tackler. He doesn't miss. And when they're trying to run the ball, they aren't getting yards at all. I mean, what they average 2.2 yards per carry or something like that. Yeah, it was a disgusting game. So they didn't even have a chance to get to Eric Kendricks to let him tackle people.
Just happy to see. Kyle and I were talking about it before Adam got to join in.
I don't think Kendricks had a single tackle, did he?
I'm looking here. Kendricks had 3 total, 2 by himself, and nothing in the way of sacks, tackles for loss, passes defended, quarterback hit, or touchdown. So, this was not a good game by his standards.
No, we've learned to expect a lot more, but we also had Eric Wilson stepping up and playing an amazing game. Harrison Smith, again, not showing up a lot on the stat sheet, but the things he was doing on the field were things that both the announcers and fans were taking a lot of notice of. Mm-hmm. That defensive line rotation, I know none of them are going to get great stats by them having players rotate in and out, but it's all about effectiveness and getting that win. At the end, the only place that stats really matter, I guess, is Pro Bowl voting, where the Vikings, I guess, are looking like they're going to lose a draft pick because of Pro Bowl voting.
John, I like that comment. Troy Dye and DJ One both keep showing up more and more as the season has gone on. I was mentioning this to Kyle before we started the show, before Adam went in. I think really what happened for the rough and shaky start was not having a preseason, because this definitely could have been seen, especially in the last game, depending on who we played. All these rookies struggling to be like, hey, look, you guys are either going to have to get up to speed or I'm going to have to dumb this down. Mm-hmm. Missing that preseason really hurt, especially since they started out, 0-3, 1-3.
New coaches on the staff, new players in a lot of spots, players opting out. It was a mess.
Special teams coach said, I don't know if he's going to be here next year. I'm going to go ahead and say that.
Well, I follow Mike Zimmer's daughter on Instagram, and she's always so fired up after every win for the Vikings. Mm-hmm. And she had a text from him, was like, did you sleep at all? And it was like 7:15 in the morning on Tuesday. They got in probably at 2:33. He's like, not a lot. He's like, I'm watching special teams right now.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. I bet he was pissed about that. But, to your guys' point earlier, talking about Cordero Patterson, if he had not scored, the Bears would have left that game with 2 field goals, and it would have been a putrid game from them. It was pretty awful anyways.
Chicago had a total of 149 yards of offense, I believe.
So bad.
They nearly had more as kick returns.
Let's get this here and get this rolling, man, before we get too far into the stats. Game, balls, and donkeys. Whoever wants to lead it off, you go right ahead.
This was an easy one for me because I watched the game. I said it in the chat on Discord, and I'll say it again. Garrett Bradbury is becoming the real deal. This guy, his ability to have clean snaps, which is the biggest thing going right now, because that was a little bit of an issue for his rookie year. But those clean snaps leading into great run blocking and solid pass blocking. If he can continue to just adjust, become more comfortable at center, because it's a big adjustment when you're lining up across from some massive guys, especially the powerful defensive line of the Chicago Bears. Mm-hmm. And he held his own against some of the best right there. So I'm very impressed with what I saw. I'm very interested to see him continue to grow and develop. And I think the Vikings may have a long-term answer there.
I love that the offensive line always gets love when you're on the show, man. I'm glad that they're playing well enough to get love from you there. What about you, Kyle?
Let me pull my stat sheet back up here. Do you guys know that Justin Jefferson had 135 yards receiving?
Yes.
Talk about a quiet performance where it's like you look at it and you're like, man, he is just production for this team, just all around. I'm really happy with how his rookie season is playing out for Minnesota.
He's balling out, that's for sure. And Pro Football Focus and the Minnesota Vikings are sharing an absolute lot of love. One thing that I really love is if you guys haven't seen this on every form of Vikings social media, they shared this locker room conversation with Justin Jefferson where they asked him about the degree of difficulty on Adam Thielen's catch. And he said, it's a 9 out of 10. He said, a 9? Not a 10? You going to tell Adam this? He said, yeah, I'll tell him as soon as we get back.
Oh man, it's kind of up in the air for me. I didn't come prepared with like somebody in mind here, but if I have to pick one person, I'm going to give it to Eric Wilson. The man stepping up, like Adam said. Eric Kendricks had an off game, which is totally all right. The guy's playing great football. 7 tackles, half a sack, tackle for loss, pass defended, 2 quarterback hits. The defense all around was amazing the other night. And I know it's not a stellar offense, but it's nice to see guys that weren't household Viking names stepping in. We know of Eric Wilson because we're nerds and we love the team.
Right.
But this guy, I mean, he's playing out of his mind right now. So good for him.
I am kind of curious what that possible contract is going to look like after this season because he's playing very, very, very well. And right now they've got him on a second-round tender, I believe. And honestly, when the Vikings threw that second-round tender on him, I wasn't sure that a team wouldn't swipe him up.
Is there any other donkey besides Austin Cutting this week?
I think Austin Cutting is the safest.
I figured we'd let you shit all over Austin Cutting.
KJ Osborne is another contender, but I gave him mine last week.
You know who I'm going to go with? We kind of brought this up in the Discord a little bit, too. Remember Odabisi Johnson?
Yeah.
remember when he was a thing?
He was a thing.
He sure as shit is not anymore. 1 target, 0 catch, 0 yards. He's been a complete non-factor.
At least he got in the game, unlike Tajay Sharp.
Yeah, Tajay Sharp's not even out there. I don't know what's going on with Odabisi. He looked like he was going to have a pretty promising little career for Minnesota, even if he was kind of the Jarius Wright mold of relief guy, come in, make plays on 3rd down. And
yeah, you'd think like wide receiver 3, he'd step in and it would be a better role for him because, he's not going against the top corners in the league. And he's just disappeared. And in response, the Vikings are finding more playing time for Chad Beebe, who I don't know. I'm seeing less and less magic from all the time.
Yeah, and I'm a little tired of hearing about Don Beebe every time he does something. Too. I'm like, okay, we get it. Don Beebe's his dad, and Adam Thielen's undrafted. We know.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting on the Adam Thielen comment.
Yeah.
Can we give a game ball because we got a good point here from John Young in the chat. Goes to Dalvin Cook. for taking a beating. I hope his body can hold on. He took a football directly to the nuts and sat out only one play. So
yeah.
And if Akeem Hicks hadn't have left, Dalvin Cook might have had like 60 yards for the whole game. That man, he had his number every single play. He wasn't going anywhere. So, yeah, that's a good point. Also, honorary game ball, Kirk Cousins over here. I just want to say, I'm not going to name my friend, but one of my friends talking a little shit because he's a Bears fan. He's like, we got Nick Foles and you got Kirk Cousins. It's like, it's going to be really embarrassing when Kirk Cousins outplays your Super Bowl MVP on Monday Night Football tonight, because it's going to happen.
And just so we can all agree, that interception is none of Kirk Cousins' fault.
That is absolutely Adam Thielen's fault. Absolutely. Was it Dan Patrick?
Play too.
It went right into Mack's hands.
Yeah,
I watched Dan Patrick today.
Slid out, and he all of a sudden had it. I've never really seen one like that.
I had to take a double look at the screen when it happened. I was like, "How'd the football get there?"
It looked like a glitch in Madden. Like if you see, like you would pause the game, you'd rewind it, and be like, "What bullshit is that? Where's the physics in this game?"
Well, I had watched Dan Patrick today while I was eating lunch, and they had Kirk on talking about his Monday Night Football, woes, and now he won a game, and he's like, "We're going to come up with specifically an RCI, receiver cause interception stat. Are you behind that?" And Kirk's like, "I'm all for it. You go ahead, I'll endorse it." That's pretty funny. But
did you guys know that Kyle Rudolph hadn't fumbled ever?
Ever?
Until this game.
He was very sure-handed until that happened.
I didn't know that.
I still say that wasn't a fumble. I'm going to be that guy. I'll wear the tinfoil hat.
He was not down.
I'm dying on that hill. I want a different angle. I want to recount. Going back to the donkeys of the game, Austin Cutting was terrible. Long snappers are not the most important position in the NFL, but it was a lot of importance this game. There was a botched extra point, which could have bit the Vikings in the ass. Had the ball been 2 yards shorter placed, they would have had a short-handed touchdown latter part of the game from Nick Foles. It was Allen Robinson that was about to catch that. I can't remember. That little stuff so you come back and bite you in the ass. And then they had terrible field position for at least half the game because special teams couldn't stop jacking shit up. And then Dan Chimney, whatever your name is. Awareness, bro. Don't do that. That was an excellent punt. Stop it.
Yeah. Long snappers, like you said, in the grander scheme of the game are not that important, but it is the one position where when they fuck up, it is immediately noticeable that they have done something wrong.
Oh, yes. And that ball wasn't even close.
It just kind of skidded along the turf. I don't know what happened.
I don't know if the ball was wet or what, but they swap out balls every time on special teams. So
yeah.
I'm not sure what could have happened.
Oh, I'm sure that was priority number one this week. Chewing the special teams coach's ass and saying, hey, figure out your shit. And it's not Dan Bailey or I forget our punter's name now because I'm a terrible person.
Britton Colquitt.
Yeah, it's not either one of them.
I almost said Matt Weil.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you're a little ways back on that one.
Is it Weil or Wiley or
Adam Thielen? Question mark. There you go. You guys just get pissed when we did that on this show. That was so funny.
Oh no! Yeah. No, cat's all wound up in the cords.
No. If we lose Adam, you know why.
There we go.
But this brings the Vikings to 4-5 on the season. They're 3-1 quietly in the division in NFC North. They are not in the cellar anymore because they beat Detroit head on. They are now at 4-5. They're third in the NFC North, and they have a quiet 3 home game stretch coming up against relatively.
Although Dallas is getting a quarterback back.
The Red Rifle coming back for vengeance.
People can rip on Andy all they want, but he's a capable quarterback.
I'm not ripping on him. I'm saying Mike McCarthy is trash. That's what I'll say. You can put my name on that. Oh, poor Dallas. Yeah, they have Dallas. It's a semi-primetime game. It's America's Game of the Week. I believe it's 4:30 Eastern. Then they have the Panthers, followed by the Jaguars at home. Those two aren't necessarily gimmies, but Dallas is pretty freaking bad. if the Vikings can somehow string together these next 3 home games and play like they did in the last 3 games they played now, we could look at them quietly being 7-5 in a showdown with Tampa in Tampa Bay. So we're not out of it yet, man. We're very much in the hunt for that 7th seed for the playoffs, and it's exciting. This is the team that you wanted to see. This is more realistic.
It's a pretty big turnaround because considering how the season started and what a lot of us were talking about, where Fire Mike Zimmer had a little bit of, well, maybe attached to it. It was like, no, we were just being angry fans. Like, he's really found a way to get this team to gel together and play their best, relying on a lot of young talent out there.
Don't forget, too, Mr. Smith, that if something happens this season and a game is unable to be played, that the NFL is moving to an 8-team playoff system from each conference. So keep that in mind. I'm not rooting for a game to be not played, but it's interesting.
Well, let's put it this way. I don't think any one of us here, unless you are that fan, and if you are, I'm not going to poo-poo on you because I like your enthusiasm. I don't think any of us think that the Vikings will win the Super Bowl with this roster just because it's a lot.
You never know.
It's young. I don't think they could. Stranger things have happened. See the New York Giants. But I'm just here for the chaos, man. I want to see them go into a place like New Orleans like last year and win a football game they had no business winning and just be like, hey, guys, thank you for coming. We'll see you next year. Like, that's really what I'm here for is the chaos.
We had talked about this, Adam. You'd rather go to the playoffs, even if it's the wild card, and lose instead of being the Cleveland Browns where you're picking in the top 5 every single year. I don't want to. Who wants to do that?
If I have to endure terrible seasons, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I hate it. I will never root for a Vikings loss, even if it means a better draft pick.
If you get Jameis after the Bucks, that actually scares me more because he's got a bigger arm than Drew Brees. Also, this is a good point. Fire Breather says, don't say easy games. I will not call them easy. I will say more inferior opponents. Carolina is not a gimme. And
hey, I never said the Falcons was an easy game. In fact, I was talking about how Julio coming back changed that entire team. And so far, it's looking like that might be a little bit of the case.
Also, Jacksonville also, they almost beat Green Bay in Green Bay. So
that's got to be the flukiest of flukes, though.
True, but remember, any given Sunday, there could be a trap game. Don't overlook. But though on paper, it looks good for the Vikings going forward.
1 week at a time.
Man, 2 highlights there. That Bucks game.
No fans. They're all neutral games at this point. So,
yeah, that's true. Let's go down the stat sheet a little bit here. Kirk Cousins had himself one hell of a game. 25 of 36, 2 touchdowns, an interception, not really. Only sacked 1 time, which is nice considering they have a great pass rush. A QBR of 85.8 and a rating of 100.7. Very efficient, good on third down, made some big throws, and he was absolutely fired up when he knew the game was all but won and Rudy converted. It was a nice conversion. Happy for Kirk. Very happy for him. Oh, here you go,
happy
John.
to see Kirk roll out a bit more and use his feet to keep plays alive. Because, yes, he's a great pocket passer, but he can do more with his legs to buy time. And the offensive line is doing a better job of keeping him upright. But he's also got to be a little bit more aware of where he's scrambling. Because there are a couple times that he scrambled directly towards the defenders. Yeah. And that wasn't great.
John Young. Yeah, this was the Colts game you're talking about, right? I'm hoping. That's my least favorite game of the
Bills a couple years ago.
Or the Falcons game. The Falcons game was awful. We've already had 2 of those. We'll say those were it. It's a good point. Yeah, speaking of rushing, let's go from the bottom up. We'll get to Kirk Cousins, Alexander Madison, and Dalvin Cook last. Kirk Cousins, 1 carry for -1 yards. So, to Adam's point, yes, a little more aware. That'd be nice. Alexander Madison had 2 attempts for 4 yards. Dalvin Cook ran the ball 30 times for 96 yards. only a long of 14.
Only like Dalvin Cook. Could Vikings fans see Dalvin Cook get 96 yards on the ground and everybody just be disappointed and say that it was a bad game for him? And I mean, he's still leading the league in rushing. So,
it's like when we got so used to like Jared Allen having 3 sacks a game that he'd get like 1.5. You'd be like, I'm
still not used to not having Danielle Hunter because I knew that Hunter would be constantly getting pressures and sacks, and it's just odd not seeing that on defense.
Yeah. Adrian Peterson in his MVP season. Well, he only had like 126 yards on the game, but he didn't have a touchdown, so I don't know. Maybe he's the donkey this week.
Right?
Yeah.
It's weird how much we expect greatness from the amazing players.
Yeah.
Well, we have to talk now about Kyle's game ball. Justin Jefferson through 10 games now. He's tied for the most 100-yard games as a Viking rookie. 8 receptions, 10 targets, 135 yards. How the hell did this kid fall to 22 or 21, whatever it was?
I don't know, but I'm glad he did.
I love that I keep going back to that video of the Vikings in their little war room during draft day and how just psyched everybody was when the Eagles took Jalen Reagor.
It was immediate. There was like no thought of the Vikings even taking another.
They didn't even say his name. They just said, go get him.
Yeah, they just knew immediately Jefferson was our guy. That's who we're going for. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
And there was no no debate. Everybody just was on the same page. And I know that as Vikings fans, nobody expected him to be there when Minnesota picked. Every mock draft I'd ever seen had him going at least top 15.
And I think we were all, after the Laquan Treadwell experiment, we were all like a little afraid of drafting that first-round receiver again. So
yeah.
It's been a breath of fresh air to see the kind of production we're getting from Jefferson. I like the way he's a trash talker too. He might be a rookie, but he'll make a big play across the middle and come up and he'll get right in someone's face.
He's got good energy, and I like that wide receivers want to be the best player on the field.
Yeah.
Right now, he has 42 receptions on the year, 3 touchdowns, 762 yards. This is an obvious statement, guys, but had he played in more of a role in the first 3 games, he'd be closer to 1,000 yards, maybe over it by now. He's amazing. And I think Pro Football Focus has him and Devontae Adams as the 2 most efficient wide receivers of the year right now. And that says a lot because Devontae Adams is the truth. I'm just happy that they hit on a first-round wide receiver, and immediately you see, oh, crap, this kid's the real deal. And once he gets more polished and figures out even more tricks up his sleeves or refines the things he's already good at, dude, he's going to be a force. Because Adam Thielen's still got quite a few more years to be a top wide receiver. So
Adam Thielen's going to be our Larry Fitzgerald, where when he gets up there in age, you move him from outside to inside. His route running and his ability to make contested catches are so good that he'll be able to lose a step or two and still be productive as an inside slot receiver.
Mm-hmm. Now we're talking about Thielen and Jefferson, but we also do have to understand that the Vikings can't be done improving their wide receiver unit. They are definitely going to be looking into the NFL draft because let's face it, past those 2, it's a bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't see Irv Smith this game, which he had a little bit of a flash that he could be.
Yeah, he came off a 2-touchdown game, but then he ended up missing.
Yeah, he had an injury, I believe. Was it a concussion or a shoulder or something like that? I can't remember. So there's other options there. Don't get it twisted. This team is stacked as far as skill players, but yeah, you're absolutely right, Adam. They're going to be looking for another Jarius Wright. That's what I'll always think of for a wide receiver 3 because they just don't have it. The drop off between 1 and 2 on this team to 3 and everyone else, it's pretty big.
They got to find their Julian Edelman kind of guy.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the receiving stats now. Kyle Rudolph showed up 4 out of 5 for 63. Adam Thielen 4 out of 7 with 2 touchdowns. one hell of a touchdown grab, one-handed, turned the ball so he'd have a better grip. I mean, it's the craziest thing I've seen in a while, receiver-wise, because we've seen a bunch of OBJ one-handed catches. DeAndre Hopkins is amazing. But I've never seen that before. I've never seen that actual thing that went down. And when I first saw it, I was like, did he mean to do that? And yeah, I meant to, so I could have a better grip on the top. So, I mean, to have the wherewithal to do that quickly was really good. I also like the play design on the second touchdown that he had, because him and Justin Jefferson pretty much ran the same route and way. They were just separated lengthwise in the end zone. So that was really cool.
It's kind of frustrating, though, to see so many yards come from Justin Jefferson, but yet not result in touchdowns. And I know that that's got to be something that kind of bothers him a little bit. I know he wants to see pay dirt a little bit more, and I think that's going to be a bigger motivator for him to try to break longer plays. Because I think he had, a 52-yard reception or something like that, that really energized the team, and that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's very Diggs-esque, too, because Kyle and I were talking about Diggs before the game started. What a heartbreaker that the Bills had in Arizona with that Kyler Murray Hail Mary. But, the yards after the catch, man, I think he's the best in the league right now. He's amazing. And he puts guys on skates all the time. If it's out the line, he's making those extra shifty moves. I mean, the kid's the real deal, and we could talk the whole episode about him, but I'm so glad that he fell to the team. And I'm not afraid to say that I have the shirt/jersey of this kid already, and it's really exciting to see that.
What season you think he's going to hold out? Demand a trade for?
I think he'll be appreciative, man. Like, the Diggs thing was weird because of the injury he fell, but this guy fell in the draft because other teams didn't take him. So I assuming that nothing crazy negative goes on while he's here, I think he'll enjoy his time. Minnesota usually takes care of these guys.
We're way ahead of ourselves here, but they're gonna pay him.
Yeah.
I think he's going the way this is going.
He'll get the 5th-year option money if they can't work things out, and if they can, he's going to get a lucrative extension if he keeps playing the way he is.
Yeah.
Minnesota fumbles here, not very fun. 3 fumbles, 2 recovered, 1 lost. Kyle Rudolph lost the fumble. Dalvin Cook recovered 1 after he landed on it with his junk. And Josh Metellus, shout out to Josh Metellus on special teams when Chicago decided to give the ball away, and being aware, because the Vikings didn't do anything on that drive. They had terrible field position, and they pretty much punted their way to the opposite side of the field, which is pretty dope.
Yeah. Nice when you can do that.
Defensively, there's too many names to go down, but I do want to give a shout-out to these guys. Eric Wilson, Anthony Harris, Jeff Gladney, Chris Boyd, Hercules Mataafa. God, there's so many things on here. But the highlights here, there were 5 passes defended, 5 tackles for loss, and there were 12 quarterback hits. DJ Wadham with 3, Eric Wilson with 2, and who was that? Hercules Mataafa with 3 as well. Afadi Odenigbo with 2. So the pressure was there all night. It kind of felt bad for Nick Foles. He did leave the game with an injury. I haven't gotten an update on exactly what happened and what exactly he hurt, but yeah, for now it's going to be the Tyler Bray show in Chicago before Mitch Trubisky.
They might bring the Biscuit back.
They're going to bring him back. I just don't know if he's ready yet. The Biscuit is coming back for vengeance.
The Vikings seem to struggle against the Biscuit for some reason.
Yeah, I don't see his passing ability being the threat, but he is an athlete, so definitely could run around and cause some havoc. 1 interception for Minnesota from Harrison Smith early on in the game. Punt returns, KJ Osborne, 1 for no yards. Dan Bailey, 2 field goals, 2 of 2, 1 on 1 on extra points.
Shout out to the guy in Adam's fantasy who dropped Dan Bailey mid-game. That's amazing to me.
Britton Colquitt had 5 punts for 208 yards and a long of 48. So there are your stats from this 19-3 ugly but fun game.
Well, the Vikings' red zone conversion percentage is so good that having Bailey as your fantasy kicker doesn't make a lot of sense, because you're not going to get a lot of 3-4 point opportunities. You're going to get 1.
What, do you go 2 games without kicking?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of them was because of the wind. The wind was a really big factor in that Green Bay game. But
Looking forward, like we said earlier, to the next game. The Dallas Cowboys will be visiting the Vikings. It's going to be at 3:25 Central Time, 4:25 Eastern. Right now, Minnesota in the spread is -7 or -7. They have a 76.2% chance. So keep this train rolling. The defense for Dallas is atrocious. So I see a big game from Dalvin Cook coming up. They should be able to light it up with the receivers and everything. The defense just has to hold up against the old red rifle, as Adam was talking about earlier. Oh, there's your update. Nick Foles is fine. Hip pointer and bruised glute muscle. Looked way worse than it was. Yeah, I thought he'd like broken his back or something. He couldn't move.
Yeah, it looked a lot more severe than I guess it was.
I'm sure that ground was rock hard because it's so cold up there in Chicago right now. But I like what Kirk Cousins said, too, after the game, because I stayed up to watch the post game as well. And he said, hey, look, man, we know each other from college back in the day. He's a good dude. It's very, very nice and respectful, as you would think that Kirk Cousins would be. But, man, Nick Foles and that injury bug.
Just like, can you imagine Kirk at a press conference? Yeah, fuck that guy.
Well, if you get on Twitter, they do have a polite Kirk Cousins account and a ghetto Kirk Cousins account, and they are absolutely amazing. You should follow them.
Awesome.
Oh, no.
Oh, they're so good. But, yeah, that's pretty much it for this game. I did want to talk about something before we start wrapping up here, because there's a little controversy going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars and their sneaky fans and a draft pick that they are probably going to end up getting. So there's the Pro Bowl vote comes up every year, and because the Vikings win after
it's open right now.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't know it was open yet. So the Pro Bowl voting is open right now, and these sneaky Jacksonville Jaguar fans. Remember we used to poo-poo all over them on this show because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, if Yannick Ngakoue gets voted to the Pro Bowl, that pick turns into a 4th-round pick, right?
Yep, their 5th-round compensation turns into a 4th-round pick.
So not only have Jacksonville fans started helping out, but Detroit, Chicago, and Green Bay fans have all plotted against the Vikings.
Yep.
And a social media craze that's going to get Yannick Ngakoue to the Pro Bowl. Now, Baltimore's really good, and he did start out pretty well with Minnesota, so it might have been deserved either way. But this voter fraud is bullshit, and they're going to get a better draft pick for it. And I give them a round of applause because that's a genius way to get a better pick.
Can we, like we have anything to do with it, but can NFL players and GMs in general just stop tying anything related to contracts or draft picks to the fucking Pro Bowl? Can they not learn a lesson and stop doing this? If you're a player, why would you be like, yeah, I want this in my contract that says I make more money if I go
If
to
you're a
the Pro
popular
Bowl?
player, it's great because it's not really based on merit.
I suppose. But
I remember that year that Jeff Saturday was the backup center for the Green Bay Packers and made the Pro Bowl. Just because people knew the name Jeff Saturday.
That's a good name.
Yeah, because who else do you vote for center?
You find a name that you kind of recognize, and that's it.
Yeah.
Or you just vote for whatever player you want.
Who in the team, whose team has the most dedicated fans? Because that's the only thing I'm doing. For the guys I don't know, or the positions that don't easily stand out, I'm just going to vote for the guy on my team. Why not?
Now, I realize that I may be doing this wrong because I fill out the entire ballot. I pick all 6 players,
Oh, absolutely.
in the positions. Mm-hmm. Apparently, a lot of Vikings fans and NFL fans in general only pick the players from their team if they want to vote for them and then submit it and don't pick other players.
Oh, that's so funny.
I didn't even think of that until I saw someone share their Pro Bowl ballot on Twitter. Oh. And I was like, you only voted for the Vikings players, and I voted for who I thought was best. I did this all wrong.
I'll be honest, I don't know if I've ever actually voted for the Pro Bowl.
I've done it, and I did what Adam did. I voted every single position every time.
Yep.
And hearing that, it's funny. You can't be mad about it because if you're rooting for your team, by all means, but I feel stupid for filling the whole thing out now.
Right?
But I don't know, really. Don't you kind of want to vote as a fan of the NFL for the best players?
That's what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's not going to help the Vikings a lot.
Who gets the Pro Bowl? Who cares?
Those players with incentives on their contracts care.
And what, they're doing it in Madden this year? The Pro Bowl is going to be in Madden. How does that
Oh,
even
goodness
work?
gracious. I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah, I was reading that before we started recording.
Ugh. I mean, why not?
Skills
Well,
competition.
Yeah.
They've been kind of doing it. Can we just go on full skills competition and just remove the Pro Bowl?
I'm looking here at the injury report, just kind of wrapping up for the Dallas thing before we do some promotions and head out of this episode. Trevon Diggs, the brother of former Viking wide receiver Stephon Diggs, he's on IR for his foot. Ezekiel Elliott is questionable. Guard Zach Martin and defensive end Randy Gregory are all on the injury report as of today. Vikings notables. Yesterday, Irv Smith and Cameron Dantzler were questionable. Today, Hercules Mataafa, Garrett Bradbury, and Ezra Cleveland were questionable. So keep you updated on that. We might post a little something about it later on the Facebook or somewhere else. I don't know. But, yeah, this will be a good win for the Vikings if they can get it. This will bring them to 500. It'll be in the NFC within the conference, and they're on a streak right now. Hopefully it can continue. What a story that would be if this team was at 1.1-5 and can somehow turn around and go to the playoffs.
That would be pretty great. And honestly, I'm just happy not to have to come here every week and talk about how bad this team's playing anymore.
Yeah, that was not fun.
That's sad.
Get it out of the way, early on in the season.
And selfishly, I like it when the Vikings do well or get wins because it gets me a little bit more traffic over on the Viking Age. People like reading when the Vikings are doing well.
That's a good
when
point.
The Vikings lose, not as much love for them.
You should head on over there, right there at the bottom of the screen. Help Adam Carlson pay his bills. Find an article that he wrote and give your thoughts below and comment. Interact. It's a fun time.
The MVPs from the game should be coming out soon. The best and worst from the game came out on Tuesday morning. And I should have the power rankings, which I always have a lot of fun putting together because I kind of go mathematical on it and find the averages, the means, the ranges, and all that, and try to figure out if the experts are actually getting it right. So yeah, I'll have that piece coming out probably sometime tomorrow afternoon, maybe. Otherwise, I haven't been on Twitch in a while. I say it every week. I mean to. I just haven't been. It's that kind of seasonal depression stuff that sets in every once in a while, and you don't really feel like doing anything. So I've been spending a lot of time in bed watching The Office on Netflix. But hopefully I'll get over my funk and start playing some more games soon. Also, over on undeadwalking.com, let's say Fear the Walking Dead is arguably as good as it's ever been. And that show is going to have its mid-season finale on Sunday, so it's worth checking out. The Walking Dead World Beyond, a spinoff that's kind of been spinning its wheels a little bit, put forth its best episode ever last week, and it's leading into something that should be very interesting for fans. So if you love zombie shows on AMC, head on over, check out undeadwalking.com. Lots of great content over there.
What about Z Nation? Is that still
I
going?
watched an episode and a half of Z Nation before shutting it off.
I watched like half of the first season, and I'm like, okay, this is dumb.
I got my decision to shut it off validated when they introduced Skulder and Moldy, or whatever their names were.
Oh God, really?
Yeah.
I hate that so much. I hate it so much I don't even want to talk about it.
At that point, I was like, okay, I'm glad I decided not to watch this show anymore. And I don't mind some comedy with my horror. As a matter of fact, I love a lot of horror comedy movies when they work.
Oh, so you're going to go see the new Vince Vaughn movie, Freaky? You seen the preview for that?
I have, and it looks like they gave away every good part of the movie in the preview. But you know what? It's a Blumhouse movie. Those are either really good or really bad. I enjoyed Fantasy Island. I know a lot of people said it was trash, but as a whole, I thought it was all right. I don't know. I'll watch it. I'll enjoy it. Maybe. I don't know.
You'll have to let me know what you think. I'm super skeptical on it.
I'll watch it.
I haven't seen Vince Vaughn in a movie in years.
That's what I said. I was like, shit, he must be broke.
Wasn't he in that one where like it had something to do with switching his semen or something?
Oh yeah, he was a sperm donor and he ended up having like hundreds of kids. Yeah.
I think that's the last movie of his I saw.
I didn't even see that one.
Kyle Smith, maybe you know, the second or third season of True Detective on HBO.
Oh, I have no idea.
Maybe.
I
have no idea. I've never watched that show.
The first season is incredible.
Yeah, I've heard season 1 is great, but then season 2, I've seen a lot of rioting about.
Yeah, don't know about that, but season 1 is, you gotta watch it. It's good stuff.
So it's the opposite of that Stephen King show on Hulu, then, huh?
It's the opposite of my website. Good. No, you can check my stuff out using the link down below. You can see Kyle Smith. Is modeling one of my T-shirts right now.
And this is what it looks like, ladies and gentlemen. Phantasm Digital over here on Redbubble. Yeah. Find the logo, and then you could shop all kinds of stuff here for the Purple People podcast. You got a long tees, long sleeve tees. Where's the one that I have? I think I have the active shirt. Oh, I have the premium right here. This is what I'm wearing. I enjoy it.
Do they have an inactive shirt?
I believe that's the long tee. I don't think you're going to be too active in that. It's like a gown. You can get everything here. This is kind of cool. Stickers, phone cases. I know you can do like coffee mugs, artboard print. They got everything, man. So if you like the show, shower curtains again. Every time it's a shower curtain. I love it.
Shower curtain, yeah.
Yeah, if you guys want to support Kyle West's stuff, you can go there. He has a lot of good prints as well, which I'll bring it back up because we don't want to just shamelessly promote the show. If you like his photography work, you can check this out as well.
Yeah.
Really good photos, man. Really good photos. I'm a big fan.
I've been kind of slow on uploading stuff as well recently, too. I need to probably do a better job of that.
I hate to like basic white girl the shit out of this, but your photos seem very rustic, and I'm not calling that just a popular trend that you're doing. It just seems to fit the mold of this, and whatever you're taking in your town here, because I know a lot of these are from where you're from, but it works. It all works. That little formula you got is very killer. Support everyone here on the show. That's what we're trying to say.
And don't forget, you wouldn't trust a rusty lawnmower to mow your grass, so make sure to invest and buy Manscaped.
I hate you, Adam. We are not sponsored by them, so don't buy that. It just kills me, man.
It kills me. So I was talking to the guys in my class today, leaving San Antonio in a couple of days, going back to Nashville, and I just they were very surprised. They're like, "Oh, you didn't tell us you had a podcast?" I was like, "Yeah." And they watched a little bit of last week's episode. They're like, "You guys have sponsors?" And it's like, I mean, we've had offers, but we haven't sold our soul yet. We're holding out for Taco Bell and Mountain Dew, damn it.
We got room in these little boxes on either side for sponsorship.
We could. And I just want to say.
Good point, Adam.
I just want to say, too, like, just to point it out, we've done it before on other episodes in this show, but we don't infomercial and sponsor the shit out of you like most of these guys. If you're sticking around, I only have one person watching live right now. But you guys that watched earlier, we don't throw that in every 20 seconds like these other shows. And I really do think that's why we get such interaction on the live. So
I think the only time we've ever had an ad run is when we were on TSAN. Whoa. And they would host us on their site and they'd put an ad before us.
Whoa. I've seen a really on-point tweet that got a lot of attention that said that podcasts have turned into the new infomercials.
Yeah.
I kind of hate that.
I even hate watching a YouTube video that's sponsored and you can't like skip the commercial. Yeah. You gotta sit there and listen to them talk. I love the Angry Video Game Nerd. I'll watch his stuff because it's so amusing.
The one thing I will say I don't even know what we're still recording for, but for the sponsored at least for like when like a YouTube channel does like a sponsored advertisement in the middle of it, they're getting way more revenue than what they would be from like YouTube. So
Right.
the content creator is coming out better on that. So I give them a little bit of pass on that.
Hey, I'll
I
never
try to guess
shame.
where the ad's going to end and click there and hope
Yeah.
that's where it's going to be.
Yeah.
I'll never shame anyone for making a living because, you know, with the evolution of technology and the internet and social media and all this stuff, it just gives more people more of an opportunity to do what we're doing, which is fine. But, man, one day we'll have sponsors on this show, but we're going to do it on our terms. And if we're stubborn about it, whatever, it's fine. We do
I
this
see
show.
a lot of other Vikings websites and podcasts were also approached with the Manscaped offer, and some of them took advantage of it. And it's large logos.
That's right. That's right, Ryan. Thank you. We would love to be your laundry background entertainment. That is what we specialize in, actually. If this show had a resume, it would be background entertainment for laundry.
Yeah.
So, quick Survival League update. Only one person got a strike. I won't say who it is. And we'll move into next week.
You got a strike, Adam?
I did.
Who'd you pick?
I took the Eagles to beat the Giants.
Okay, fair.
I mean, that's fair. The Giants were a dumpster fire.
But I switched it right before the game, and I had the Raiders. So, yeah, I regret that a little bit. But again, I'm not going to give up, but I also don't really want to win, so I'm okay with it. Because I don't want to win our own prizes. I don't want to be that guy. But I'm not going to give it up easy. You guys got to earn it.
Trying to pull the playoff picture real quick. And it's not coming up. That's great. Let's go to standings here, maybe? Question mark. No, thank you. NFL.
We're all sittings.
All right. Well,
good one, Adam.
Yeah.
I caught that.
Unless you're doing your dishes or cleaning or whatever.
Yeah.
Doing your laundry.
Just glad we're winning. Yeah. 3 division wins in a row. It's a good week to be a Viking fan yet again. I got to bust out the old Bud Grant practice white shirt for the 3rd week in a row after a win. So just going to make that a tradition from now on. I can't wear it to work all the time, but when I can.
I'm also 3rd week in a row. I'm wearing the same shirt after the win. So maybe this should be a tradition.
Oh, this is cool. So they did it a little bit differently. I'll share this on the screen and we'll get the hell out of here. So if we can look at the playoff picture right now, NFL, their setup is a little bit different than it was. So up here, the playoff picture right here on the NFC side.
Oh, they've got that one where you can pick the winners and losers up already?
I don't know.
Or is that just the informational one?
I think this is the informational one. So right up here, if it was the Super Bowl and everything was work out right, we'd have a 10-year, a decade later rematch between the Packers and the Steelers with the same quarterbacks, which would be really crazy. I don't know if that would have ever happened in the league. Right now, let's say the Eagles have no business being in the playoffs. Just stop that and change that already. The Saints, the Cardinals, surprisingly at number 3. That is crazy. Buccaneers at 5, Rams, Seahawks there, who are kind of in a free fall.
Yeah, it's weird not seeing the Seahawks winning their division. That seemed like one of the solid things. Like that and the New England Patriots, you always just assumed they would be top of their division and one of the top 3 teams in the playoffs in their division conference. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just weird to see. There's the Detroit Lions.
2 6-3 teams over here in the AFC that are not in, which is crazy. The Bears are the only team in front of the Vikings right now trying to fight their way in for that 7th seed. But a lot could change. There's still a lot of football games left. So just giving you
it's going to be tough to see one of those teams drop out, though. I mean, there's some really quality teams above the Vikings there that don't look like they're built to take a lot of losses.
Yeah, and unfortunately for the Vikings, the only teams that are above them already here that we have are both away games against the number 2 Saints and the 5 Buccaneers, and those are going to be rough games for the Vikings. They're going to be
those are going to be big ones.
That's the playoff update, just so you guys know. I think it's about time we wrap this up. We have stretched this episode out about as long as it should probably go.
Now we're at about an hour, which is great, and I'm happy with that. But I do want to thank everyone who shows up in the live chat because you guys do help to make this so much more amusing with your comments, questions, observations. And we love doing this, and we can't imagine not doing this live. For those that don't catch us live, we got so many great places that you can check out our podcast, whether it's on iTunes, Spotify, Podomatic, wherever you find your podcasts. There's a good chance you'll find us because I keep finding us in really weird podcast locations, and I'm okay with that because, hey, at least we're being offered somewhere, and I'm good with that. Also, you can find the full catalog of our shows here on YouTube if you want to go back and watch shows from your favorite Vikings game from since when we started. Hey, it might be fun. You never know. Or if you want to go back and listen to that very first episode, you can hear the origin stories of our Vikings fandom from Kyle West and I, which I think that's kind of amusing as well. Also, check us out on social media. Kyle's been doing a good job of keeping up over there about posting some of the bigger Vikings news as well as some post-game stuff, and it's always fun to do that. Remember to get your picks in on the Survival League because we really do appreciate you, and that's one of the ways that we try to show you that we do. From me and Bernie Cat, as well as both Kyle's, stay classy, Minnesota.